Hey there, how's it going? We're glad to have all of you tuning in from around the world. If you're new here, welcome to the family. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Gunfire in Washington echoes in Tel Aviv. This wasn't just a cry for help, it was gunfire. Shots were fired at employees of the Israeli embassy in Washington, raising questions way bigger than just who did it or why. The bloody attack outside the Jewish Capitol Museum reopened deep Middle Eastern wounds right in the heart of America. So, what made an American man pick up a gun and open fire in the name of Gaza? Is Israel's policy in Gaza starting to stir real anger in Western capitals? On the night of Wednesday, May 21st, 2025, just as Washington, D.C. was settling in for a quiet evening, the city was rocked by a violent, unexpected attack. The target? Clearly an openly Israeli embassy staff. The attack happened outside the Jewish Capitol Museum, one of the most important cultural institutions for the Jewish community in D.C., which gave the incident major international attention from the very start. Immediate and tragic losses. 2 Israeli embassy employees were killed instantly, causing shockwaves among diplomats and Jewish communities both in the U.S. and abroad. The victims were Yaron Lashinsky, a young German-Israeli research assistant at the embassy, Sarah Lynn Milgram, an American from Kansas working in public diplomacy at the same embassy. The two were actually engaged and had plans to celebrate their engagement in Jerusalem the following week, which made the tragedy even more heartbreaking and drew emotional coverage in media around the world, especially in the West.
The attack happened during a cultural and social event hosted by the American Jewish Committee inside the Jewish Capitol Museum. The event was attended by people from all walks of life, including prominent political and diplomatic figures. According to eyewitnesses, the shooter approached the area, wandered around the museum for a few minutes, and then suddenly opened fire randomly on people gathered outside. Multiple people were injured, but Yaron and Sarah were killed on the spot. After the initial shots, the attacker stormed into the museum, shouting repeatedly, "Free Palestine!" a clear indication of his political motive. Security officers inside the museum reacted quickly and managed to restrain the shooter until police and SWAT teams arrived and took him into custody.
Chaos, panic, and immediate response. Panic spread fast.
News of the attack went viral both locally and globally.
U.S. authorities responded quickly with extraordinary security measures across the Capitol. As soon as details reached the White House and national security circles, official statements started pouring in. President Donald Trump, currently serving a second term, was one of the first to respond.
He immediately called it a terrorist act fueled by anti-Semitism, designed to spread fear and hatred in American society. He stressed that his administration would show zero tolerance for such actions and promised the harshest possible punishment for those responsible.
Attorney General Pam Bondi also announced an urgent federal investigation, confirming the attack was being treated as a politically and racially motivated act of terrorism. She said the suspect could face life in prison or even the death penalty under U.S. law.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also reacted strongly, expressing deep shock and outrage.
He immediately ordered heightened security at all Israeli embassies and consulates worldwide in case of copycat attacks.
The American Jewish Committee, which had organized the event, released a statement mourning the victims and expressing the American Jewish community's deep sorrow. They called on U.S. authorities to take every measure necessary to prevent such attacks from happening again. Soon, more details emerged about the shooter, Elias Rodriguez, a 30-year-old from Chicago.
According to early investigations leaked to the media, Rodriguez didn't have a major criminal record, but he was known to certain security agencies for his political activism online. He had a history of posting harsh criticisms of Israeli policies towards Palestinians, especially concerning the situation in Gaza.
Security reports also revealed past ties to the Party for Socialism and Liberation, a far-left political group active in the U.S. However, the party quickly released an official statement denying that Rodriguez had any current membership or organizational connection.
Authorities also found numerous social media posts from Rodriguez sharply criticizing the Israeli government, particularly in relation to recent military operations in Gaza.
This attack in Washington can't be seen in isolation. It's clearly tied to the ongoing humanitarian crisis in Gaza, which has worsened in recent months due to a series of Israeli military strikes on densely populated areas.
These strikes, which have intensified since the beginning of the year, have resulted in the deaths of hundreds of civilians, including many women and children, and caused massive destruction to Gaza's infrastructure.
This tragedy in Washington may be just one reflection of a growing global anger as the world watches what's happening in Gaza. A massive wave of public anger has erupted across the world, not just in Arab and Muslim countries, but also in several Western nations, including the United States itself.
Major American cities have seen large protests and demonstrations against Israeli policies, with protesters accusing Israel of committing war crimes and violating international law. Today, many political analysts believe that Israel's military operations in Gaza and the huge humanitarian suffering they cause have fueled growing frustration and anger, especially among young people around the world.
Some even think this deep sense of outrage may have driven Elias Rodriguez, the Washington attacker, to take such a violent and destructive step. The U.S. authorities wasted no time responding. They quickly imposed a heavy security cordon around the scene of the attack and deployed special FBI and local police units throughout the capital to protect diplomatic missions and cultural centers that could be potential targets in the hours that followed.
Shortly after, the White House issued orders to tighten security around all Israeli embassies and Jewish community sites across the United States, fearing similar attacks inspired by what had just happened in Washington. In Tel Aviv, the Israeli government also responded swiftly. The Prime Minister ordered heightened security at all Israeli embassies, consulates, and diplomatic offices worldwide. Israel raised its national alert level in anticipation of any potential threats following the attack.
The incident may be over and the attacker has been arrested, but the motives behind it are still not entirely clear. However, what is clear is that the consequences now lie in Israel's hands. While global anger over the war in Gaza continues to grow, Israel keeps rejecting any kind of resolution. And this time, the message came from Washington itself, a city that has been pressuring Israel to end the war. The question now is, will Israel take this harsh message seriously, or will it keep ignoring the will of the world? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. At S News, we're committed to giving you fair and balanced reporting.